everybody, to the fifth episode of Boundary Breakers. I am your host and representative today, Piper McLean, and we are honored to be in conversation with Jacqueline Way.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here with you. Hi, Piper. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you doing today?
It's a great day. It's a great day. I'm so happy to be here with you all.
No, we're happy to have you. For the audience who doesn't know, we are here with a visionary behind 365 Give. It's an initiative dedicated to the fostering of positive change and daily acts of giving in our world and society today. As we delve into Jacqueline's transformative journey and profound impact on community upliftment, prepare to be inspired and empowered.
Do our
Let's
best. We'll do our best.
You guys do amazing. It's that one bit of change that creates a ripple effect and makes
That's right.
like a big impact on people, right? And
That's right.
that's what we try to do here too. So I'm glad that we have some like-minded organizations meeting head to head today.
Absolutely.
With our audience today, let's explore these possibilities of where passion meets purpose. And I'd love to uncover the true essence of what it means to be a valuable member to your community.
Absolutely.
So,
Let's dive in. Let's dive
yeah,
in.
let's get right into it. I'd love to start off with a little bit of a showcase for what you do at 365 Give. So let's pull up some content that you can explain what that really is to the audience.
Absolutely. Well, this was when you asked me for a little bit of content about 365 Give. First of all, you can always go to our website. You can see our programs that we provide, all the educational tools, the learning videos, that's all there for you. But we've got something really special coming up, and we thought this was a great opportunity to share it with everybody. And so in the coming weeks, as we all know, it is now February. We like to call it the month of love.
Oh,
And
love it.
it's all about love, as you are here on Love Caravan. And, we want to do something a little bit different. So I got together with organizations from all over the world, a bunch of just committed global citizens, to do something a little different for Valentine's Day this year. Every year, 365 Give, we always love to just showcase ideas, different ways to give, what we know about Valentine's Day. It has turned into a very commercial
Oh, 100%.
concept, right? And
Yeah.
it causes a lot of environmental damage. It probably causes us all a little damage in regards to
Yeah.
the amount of chocolate we consume. I know that's the truth for my kids. So we thought this year, what can we do that's a little different? And what we know for our world right now is what the world really needs right now is a whole lot of love. The negativity that's coming in, the fear that's coming in, all we're seeing is conflict. And this algorithm has been created not only just in the news media and what we watch on television, but what we're seeing on social media. And what we know is if you're not really careful, your feeds are going to be filled with negativity. You're going to have images of war and fear coming at you every day. So for the week of Valentine's Day, we thought, let's start changing that algorithm. Let's create something new and different. Let's actually stop letting social media create our experience for us and instead use social media literally, because I feel like social media just uses us right now with its algorithms. How can
Mhm.
we now use social media in a different way? And how can we use social media to stop controlling us with fear and instead we start putting love out to the world? So we've created a campaign. It's called All for Love. And we're using the hashtag All for Love, as you can see from this. And from February 12th to 16th, we are asking anybody on social media, on any handles, whether it's LinkedIn, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's here on YouTube, but how can we start to send out love messages to the world? And it's really simple. All we ask is that you create your own heart. We say your own heart image. So you can use your hands. I have all kinds of heart things. You guys are perfect because so do you. I have all these little blue
I
hearts on
know.
my
Even my
thing.
necklace today. I didn't even plan
Right?
on.
It's on. So use whatever image works for you. Look, I have another little blue heart image. Take a still photo, create a video, and post it on social media along with your love letter to the world. What do you hope for the world? What message of love would you like to send out to everybody in the world so that love becomes the trending hashtag for that week over Valentine's? So we're inviting everybody to come and join us. We love you to be part of this campaign. You don't have to do anything but show up on social media and use that hashtag all for love.
I really love the idea of this concept because today in the modern world, this really is the first time that we've had the internet and everything connected to it in our grasp and able to use. And like
Literally.
you said,
Right.
literally, I've
Literally.
got mine right in front
In
of me.
the palm of our hand.
I know. And this is the first time in history where we've ever had that access to people all over the world.
Right.
So instead of becoming part of the algorithm, let's start making our own
Yeah.
algorithm. I
Well,
actually
and
really
that's it.
love this. It's
Yeah.
something that everyone can get involved with at like no
Doesn't
charge.
cost anything, just a
And it's
little bit of
super
time and
easy.
your heart.
No, I love that. I hope some of our audience members take in and participate in this. I
I do
definitely
too.
will be for sure
Thank
right
you.
after this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, we all will be, and we're launching the campaign tomorrow just to get everybody ready. But yeah, please share, put this out there, do something before the campaign even starts, tag your friends and family, give them the challenge to participate as well. And, as we say, let's stop letting, the algorithms of social media control our own lives and what we view and what we see in the world.
You hear to her first, everybody. Get
That's
going on your
right.
campaign. Let's make some love in the world. This is such a novel prospect that should be so easy come by to all of us, but I feel like people don't really look into how they can make a change as an individual. So I'd like to really dive deep into this concept and ask you a couple questions about this.
You bet.
Um, so, as we've discussed, you've founded this amazing organization, 365 Give, and your team has an amazing vision of how to change the world one give, one day at a time. Could you explain a little bit about how you can carry out this mission and how other people can do the same?
Absolutely. Well, the great thing about 365 Give, and for those of you that don't know, it actually started as a personal parenting project. I started with my son when he was just 3 years old. So 365 Give was built, our mission and vision was built on the concept that giving is so simple, a 3-year-old can do it. And it truly
Wow.
was. Yeah. So, when people say to me, well, I don't know what I can do. Well, if my 3-year-old could give for 365 days, I say anybody can. It doesn't matter if you're 3, if you're 23, or you're 83. We all have this opportunity in our life to set an intention and to go out every day and do something small. And this is when we were talking about all for love. It's literally as simple as that. What are the small things that you can do every day in your own life to give back? And it doesn't have to be to people. It could be for our planet. You could pick up garbage. It could be for animals. If you're a gardener, I mean, I'm an avid gardener. I can't wait for spring here because I know when I'm out in my garden, I'm feeding the birds. I'm growing flowers for the butterflies and the bees. I'm pollinating the world. I'm growing fresh fruit and vegetables for my family. And these are the things that some people do automatically in their life, but when you actually start becoming aware, we call this your kind of conscious awareness that you are actually giving every day. All of a sudden, what you're going to see happening is every time we do this in my house all the time. Oh, that was my 365 give for the day, Mom. Is you're going to start noticing how you're feeling in your body. And this is a big part of what we do, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but how giving actually affects you, because giving really starts with ourselves
Yeah.
and then how that affects the world around us. So yes, when we go out and we give, I pick up garbage, that helps the planet, it helps us, it helps our oceans. But at the same time, I'm actually helping myself. This fosters love in ourselves, it fosters happiness in ourselves, it decreases depression, it decreases stress. All of these amazing things happen for us that then again keep affecting the world around us.
No, I love that. And you know what you said about how even a 3-year-old could do it. If you anyone who's ever worked with kids or is just around kids, you know how sweet and kind kids really are. And that's really what we people are at our core. And we kind of forget that.
It's
And
our true nature, we like to call it, right? We're
exactly.
not born hating. We're not born, wanting to go out and get people in the world. We're not born that way as well. We're actually born as just pure love, and it's the outside world that then begins to program us to look at things differently. So
Yeah.
you're right on the nose with that. Giving is being love is our true nature.
Yeah, and it like the world around us really does callous us. And putting that effort into trying to do something to give back every single day, like not only is that going to make that change outwardly, but inwardly, like you said, we
Absolutely.
like in the modern world, people struggle so much with, self-hatred, other
Mental
mental
health
health
issues,
issues.
absolutely.
So
Well-being issues. It keeps going. Well, and just so everybody knows as well, as much as this set out as a project to do with my son to create this happy, kind, loving little child, when I really came away, when I was done with it all and I was able to stand back a little bit, is I really realized it became my practice of love. Practice of love, not only, again, as you said, for the outside world, but it became a practice for me to become to know that not only was it self-love, but it was knowing that I was love. And I had that ability to put that out into the world every day.
yeah, and I feel like this connects to the idea of a message I heard before, and it was like happiness truly is a choice, where it's like
Mhm.
you can dwell in that and you can have sadness,
Yeah,
but you can also try to come back from that and
yeah,
do something to bring yourself up. And I know
absolutely.
personally, I feel no better about myself than when I'm doing something that makes someone else feel good.
Absolutely.
So even that little boost can make all the difference. It can turn a bad day into a great day. And
Right.
they say that frowning uses more muscles in your face than smiling. So why not
Look
choose
at
to?
all the wrinkles I have to prove it. It's good. Way better to have smile wrinkles than frown wrinkles.
I love it. I firmly believe that
Bring it
age is a
on.
blessing, right? And we're
Well, and what they say about giving is it's actually nature's natural remedy to stay young. So because it increases our health, because it's good for our well-being, because it decreases stress, all of these things, the pillars of well-being are so simple. And one of those big ones is that connection to others. And when you were just speaking, that's what you find when you give, it creates a connection. And when I say with others, that again, doesn't mean just with people, that can be with planet and it can be with animals as well. I can promise you, we one of our gives, our 365 gives was adopting two stray cats about a year ago. And I promise you right now that that exchange that we have with them, that pure love that we have with him, even though we may be giving back to them or we provided them with a great home, as everybody says, really, it's a beautiful exchange for us both.
No, because you're gonna get the love from the cat. And I think that
Absolutely.
pets and other animals are such an amazing way to feel just that happiness in your life because it's just such a small creature and you can't truly talk with them, but like
Oh,
you
you
can hear
can.
my
Love speaks
well,
a
I
big
know that
language, right?
they have their own language. That's the
Well, they
language of
do.
love,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Uh
and that's a perfect way to look at it too, is really love is the common language we all speak. It doesn't matter if you don't all speak English or any other language. What we know is when we give and there's a common exchange, that is the language of love. It's the common thread that connects literally everybody on this planet. And one that we speak, it doesn't matter your religion. If you dig into every religion, there's over 2,600 different religions on this planet, and all of the religions have a very similar common voice, and that is the common voice of love and giving. It's being of service.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is truly insightful. Like that
Right.
honestly changed my outlook on life. I hope someone else is moved by that. But yeah, there is a way that we can all connect no matter where we are in the world, and it's through that, it's through that love, through that community, through that connection. And I think that that's a really amazing point. I hope everyone is really gonna take that deep and think about it. I wanted to talk about your experience here over the last decade.
Sure.
As you've developed, this amazing foundation and organization, it can be globally influential, right? Just like we were just
It
talking
has
about.
been. Hmm.
It's happiness bringing, heartwarming, charitable, and I'd love for you to share an experience that you've had in really making a change in someone's life.
Oh, um, wow, there's so many of them. I think one of the things, and for those of you that don't know about our programs is as much as it started as a personal parenting project, we then actually built a school program around it. And so we have an educational program. It's been taken up by over 600 schools now globally. I think we're actually probably closer to 700 schools now globally. 186 countries. Our program has been through at this point because it's that
Wow.
easy, right? It's that easy for teachers that they can implement this easily into the classroom. But I think one of the stories that really touched my heart the most was we ended up partnering with an orphanage in Africa. And so I connected here in Vancouver, Canada, that's where I'm from. I connected a school, a classroom of grade 6 students with the orphanage in Africa. And so these were the days, this is pre-Zoom, like this is a while ago, where we used to use something called Skype. Most of you out there may
Yeah.
not even know what Skype is,
The very
but
first
Skype was the
FaceTime.
very
Yeah.
first Zoom, right? It was the first time you could connect to somebody somewhere else. And so we connected these kids. The kids in this class actually ended up raising money so that they could provide the kids with soccer balls. We did that, and then we actually sent a number. I think the kids ended up raising about $500, which ended up sending 3 or 4 kids to school for a year. It was pretty incredible what the kids did.
Wow.
But then we connected them on Skype. And listen, they didn't speak English. The kids in Africa didn't speak English. The kids here in Vancouver didn't speak, but they found this commonality of being able to understand each other. They wanted to know if the kids in Africa ever got to eat ice cream, right? They wanted to, I mean, these are kids in an orphanage that had nothing, right? But then the
Yeah.
kids showed them the soccer balls that they made out of literally grass, right? And so they ended up having this
Wow.
gorgeous exchange, and it took our worlds that felt so far apart, which were these honestly pretty overprivileged kids in West Vancouver, Canada, and put them together with these kids that had nothing in
Yeah.
India. And it put them together, and all of a sudden it made no difference. Didn't matter the color of the skin, the religions, nothing. They just felt this innate connection to each other because one group of kids reached out and they helped the other group of kids. And all of a sudden it was magic. So I would say that was just one of so many stories that I could tell. But that was one of the first ones that had happened. And it keeps me motivated when I go back to that to keep doing the work that we do in the world.
That is such a touching story. And I love that in kids it's like so pure that way, where it's like they don't see anything besides the other kid on the other side of the world through this screen. And that's something we really try to do here at LC, is to really create and foster an okay space, a safe space for people of all different, religions, cultures, backgrounds, ages, to come together and relate on the one thing that we all can appreciate, whether
Right.
that be love, art. I think that art is just the manifestation of love and passion.
Oh,
So
well, imagine if you guys brought your community together, we do this all the time with the kids. We've partnered with seniors homes. So the
yeah,
kids are making cards. They get to create them any way they want. These artful cards, and then we send them over to the senior center or seniors buildings for Christmas and for Easter and all of those occasions. So they're actually doing something together. They get to be super creative, and then we get to give the cards out,
this is bringing up like really
right?
great ideas for how we could collaborate in the future.
Oh, I'd love it. We have lots of projects like this that we do in community, and that can be creative for everybody.
No, that's amazing. They're percolating in my brain. I'm thinking of how we can involve each other together, because when you do stumble across connections like this, like, we are basically responsible to do something about it, and
Yeah,
to create whatever we can of this, because connections like this just don't come around all the time. And, if there are people that are willing to do something, we definitely have to act on that, right?
we do. Anything we can do, right? And then and that's the big part, is it doesn't have to be that you guys go raise tons of money or anything else. It's just, how do you make those, as you started this conversation, the community connections right where you are. You don't have to go connect with kids in Africa. That was just a moment in time that happened to work out. But there's lots of need in every single community in the world. There is not a community in our world that there aren't needs somewhere. And whether that's through, listen, we even do this. This is one of the things the kids love to do, is bake cookies for the firehouse, right? And they go and deliver
Yeah.
fresh baked cookies down to the firehouse just to thank them for their service, but nothing else. I mean, it's what we do every Christmas morning. I bake with my kids, and we walk down to the firehouse and we just thank the firefighters for working on Christmas Day, and for keeping our neighborhood safe. So these are the little things that we can still do, that even if there's not when we say a need, just the gratitude, the thank yous, the recognition, because really everybody just wants to be seen and heard.
Yeah, that is something that we keep coming across in our Boundary Breakers interviews, that someone just wants to be listened to. That was something
Right.
that Dr. Farah Shroff really went deep into. And I think
Yeah.
that it's so simple to do that. And just think of how much better the firefighters' days were after that. And that was just such a little thing, right?
Little
Um,
things, right?
and if you take that on the global scale, then everyone would be happier. We would elevate the whole
It's that
energy of
easy.
our
And you
work.
know what? It doesn't even have to be the whole world. What we know about tipping points, right? Is it doesn't even have to be half the world. We'd still hit a tipping point because of the ripple effect. You
Yeah,
know, when the ripple effect of giving literally goes to what they say 3 times. So when I give to, let's say, the firehouse, right?
yeah.
And I touched 5 firefighters on Christmas Day. That's who we met down at the firehouse. They're going to take that story, they're going to take their own feeling, they're going to take it back to their families, they're going to share it with people in their community or their friends. And all of a sudden, that starts to ripple. And that one story, it's like what you said today, that I'm here to inspire everybody. I'm just going to inspire you through my stories because you're going to go, oh, I could do that. And the next time you're out, let's say, just walking through the neighborhood, you know what? You might just start picking up garbage. Or you might go, oh, I'm baking cookies today. I'll bake a few extra. I'm dropping them over to my neighbor. And all of a sudden, these are your stories now. They're not just my story, but they're your stories. And that's just because you heard one from me.
Yeah, these stories are definitely resonating something in myself, and I can only imagine what it's going to do for other people. And I think it's so relative to what we're doing here at LC. Like this isn't like
Yeah.
inspiring me to think of new ways that we can involve our programming more in the youth and how we can do even more to change. We have some LC materials that we've prepared, and we would love to just show to you, hear what you have to say, and show the audience something that we're really trying to make a difference here as a small nonprofit organization. And I'd love
Well,
to,
that's us too. So I get it. We're just a small
yeah.
not-for-profit organization too, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna roll that up right now, and
Please.
we'll have a look and see what comes of it.
Amazing. You did it. You did it. Mm. Look at those smiles. That's all you need to do. Look at those smiles. Love it. Brilliant. I love it.
So nice seeing everything just put together in such a nice way.
Oh no, it was beautiful. What a gorgeous trip you all did. I just love it. The fact you guys went across Canada is just absolutely amazing. And I hope there's so much support out there for, youth initiatives right now. We see, at least here in Vancouver, I'm seeing more and more of all of the support that's going out for youth initiatives, and I hope you keep finding those where you guys are as well. Because
Yeah,
it's
it's not like youth is ever going away. So,
Nope, they're not. And they're being encouraged more and more to do the great work like this obviously shows. We would love to invite you guys to participate as well in Do One Give Day. Not only the All for Love campaign, but Do One Give Day comes up in April for us. And it was actually started by youth. I worked with a group of high school students from a local foundation here. And we came up with Do One Give Day. And Do One Give Day is it's the same thing. It's like just get together with your friends and family, do one small act of giving, share it on social media. We do this a lot with youth. We do it with the schools. We do it with the high schools. And we just invite people from all over the world to just come and join us to just change the world for a day. Because even for the people that go, well, I can't give every day. Well, you could for one.
yeah.
And so that's what we say for Do One Give Day. Just come and join us and be part of that. And we love to partner with you guys to work on that as well.
Well, something that we're trying to do here with Boundary Breakers is to connect in a way that we can be involved in everyone else's programs as much as our own,
Right.
because, what is the point in just being a sole, I'm going to take on the world organization and not have
Impossible.
exactly. So,
Yeah,
we would love to take you up on that offer, and we would love to have
perfect.
you be involved in ours, and we'll definitely
You
have to
bet.
talk about that in the future.
Okay. No, would love to do that. That would be amazing. I love the work that you're doing. And I love that I even mentioned that whole seniors cards project. And you've been there, done that. That's like old news for you guys. That
I
was so
know.
perfect. That was
I know.
great.
Isn't that ironic that we
Yeah,
already had that
exactly.
plan in there? Speaking more on to the seniors project that you guys like to do, and like obviously that's something that we focus on.
Mhm.
Obviously there is a major issue in today's world with senior isolation,
Yeah.
um, especially with the ever increasing amount of seniors that are living in senior homes, seniors that are being evicted because they can't afford
Can't afford it.
their
Yeah.
rent anymore. So this is obviously a very serious issue, not just with the elderly population, but for all of us. So I wanted to hear your opinion on how you think youth can have um a big impact on seniors' lives even when they are young.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that has really been lost in connection when we look over, the years, thousands of years, hundreds of years, is, in culture, and certainly because we're both from Canada,
Yeah.
indigenous cultures, the seniors, they were
Yeah.
revered. They were the wisdom keepers.
Yeah.
They were the one that passed down the knowledge that was literally required for survival.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, somewhere along the way, we have forgotten this. And for me, that's a big one. I have many friends who are seniors, to the point that recently I met a gentleman down at the beach. And when I met him, I didn't realize he actually lived down at the beach because he's very well
Okay.
dressed, a
You thought
lovely
it was
gentleman.
like a figure of speech.
Well, no, well, he was, yeah, no, literally, I always saw him down at the beach, and he builds these beautiful hearts out of stones. Like it's amazing. Like everywhere I go, I feel like his signature is around. And one day I had the courage enough to go up and actually talk to him, and he looks a bit like Santa Claus.
Okay.
And oh, literally. And so I went and I had a chat with him, and it was a number of visits with him until I realized that he was actually homeless. And so I decided to invite him for Christmas dinner. And so I went down and I picked him up, and he came back to my family. I had got him a Christmas gift, and he had dinner with our family. And then, he kept saying to me, no, no, it's my choice to be down at the beach. It's my choice to be down at the beach. And then we had a cold front here in Vancouver, and he started really suffering. He started having some health issues. And so we've now got him off the street, and he's on a wait list for his own apartment and all the things we can do. But what I know about that conversation that I started with him, I had no intention when I first went to go and meet him of
Yeah.
being the person that helped him get an apartment and he'd been homeless for 6 years. I just didn't know any of this. But it was just the fact that I took the time and I stopped and I had a conversation with him. We found so much commonality. His wisdom is remarkable. We found so many common things that, we literally, when I say we spoke the same language, we spoke the same language. And it was amazing for me just to take that time. And so I have so many friends in my life that are seniors, and I'm so happy to have them because we'll sit and have the conversations that get beyond just the fake, what shoes did you buy, whatever, the boys in your life, whatever that may be. And we dig into life. We dig into life experiences. I like to find out what I can learn from them. Because then I know, like I can promise you, Piper, how old are you?
I am 21.
There you go. Well, I promise you, and one day you're going to think back to this conversation that you're going to think, 21, man, I am so much smarter than I was when I was 16. Well, this is what I can tell you is that by the time you hit 50, 50 is like the magical year where your wisdom starts coming together. You can look back at your life and go, oh my God, all the things I've learned, but it takes time and it takes experiences and it takes things like, I could promise you at 21, I could never have told you I would have been doing one small thing to give back to the world every day for 365 days, done a TED Talk that has 8 million views, and run a charitable organization. I could, like when I was 21, I promise you, none of that was on my agenda. But life takes you down paths, right? And that's what we
Yeah.
miss from our seniors is that seniors can give you the insight. Seniors can give you that life experience. Some of it you take and some of it you don't. It's not unlike your friends, but
Yeah.
they have a deeper wisdom about life and choices and listening to those whispers that we don't always hear, and so many other great pieces. And most of all, what they'll tell you, because they're almost at the end of their life, is that the most important thing in their lives is love.
Yeah. That is, you said it beautifully. And, there is something that really stuck out to me about this interaction that you had with this man that lived on the beach. That everyone just wants someone to take a chance on them,
Yeah.
you know. And
Oh
that's
yeah, you
something.
should have seen my family. Like when I said, "Oh, by the way, guys, we're having an extra person at the table. I'm bringing the homeless guy from the beach home," and it was like, "Really? Okay, right?"
But the thing about that is you don't know why that like he has come to be living on
Oh,
the beach, right? You don't
absolutely.
know the amazing things he could have led in his life before
Mm,
that. And
yeah,
now he just has to live with, what he has been dealt with, the path that
yeah,
he's been taken on,
yeah,
by whatever power you want to call it has brought you there.
yeah,
So that's just what everyone wants, that someone feels that they could take a chance on them. And, as small organizations, we just love when other people will, bite the bullet, take a chance on us to do more because they
right.
believe that we can, right?
Yeah,
Um, so I thought that was super important and
yeah.
powerful.
And listen,
Uh,
there's always something down that path. When you guys go and you take the time with seniors, I promise you that video that you just showed us, if you talk to everybody who went on that trip, they gain so much from that, right? They
yeah,
gain their own life experience, their own wisdom, just doing that, the connections that they made. You could feel the happiness and the love between them just watching the video, which was absolutely gorgeous. And that's what we're all here for really is, what are those experiences that are going to create the happiness and the love and, get us to view the world and experience it in a different way.
I'm so happy that you took that from that video. Like the video mentioned, that is our Cross Canada Volunteer Tour. That
Mhm.
is our flagship event that we hope to make annual, but it's hard with
It's
how
funding.
expensive
Yeah.
things are. So this is such an important project here for us. It's at the heart of LC, and we are so eager to upgrade and relaunch that. We hope to do that, but we need someone to take that chance on us the exact same way that we think people should if they have the opportunity to, just as a way of life. It's
But
become
you guys can also do it. And a great way for you to do it, and I'm going to put this out there for you, is do it right where you are. Do that caravan right where you are with your seniors right now. Show your community, show the people, the sponsors, the foundations, show them that you can do that anywhere. And you just want to replicate it, right? So if you can show them that you're doing it right where you guys are, right here in Canada, you're encouraging other youth groups to do the same thing. That's what they want to see, right? Is how can you start to create that ripple? Sometimes it is in a big van. And yes, doing the cross Canada tour is a remarkable experience for everybody. It's so good for all of you, and I'm not negating that. But what we know is that people just want to keep seeing that right now. Show them
mm,
that you can do it. We can do it, but this is the bigger idea that we want. This is how we want to expand this. But don't give up right where you are either, just because you haven't got a bus. Right. And
I
that's what
love
I would say to everybody is
that.
don't give up, because you listen, when I started 365 Give and I was like, oh, really? We're going to turn this into an education project. And I had these like global dreams and all of those things that I wanted to do as well. But what I know what I had to do is I had to start with one school. Right. And then I had to go to two schools and all right here in my neighborhood. Right. And I couldn't take it global until I did the work and I showed people what we were made of right where we were.
I love that because I feel like that is more from the heart of what it is to give back. And even if we don't have everything we want to turn it into
Yeah.
as high as our expectations can
Mhm.
go, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we can't do nothing.
Yeah.
I that's really going to change my outlook on
Yeah.
how I'm going into my work and how we are trying to, do something about it. And I think that's exactly the outlook we should have, that just because we can't do everything at 100 doesn't mean we can't give it everything that we can
Yeah.
give it
Well,
based on what
listen,
we
the
have.
fact that you're showing up here on YouTube, you're doing lives. Imagine if you guys did your caravan right where you were at a senior center. All you need is one person to watch it that believes in you, and then you've got your bus, right? But if you can't even put that content out, show them what you're doing right now on whatever channels it is, or get these videos in front of the foundations, the people who are going to give you the money, they need to see it right now where you are as well. But that's what we know, right? You just need one person to watch a video. If anybody had told me that 8 million people would watch my TED Talk, I was like, I just want one person to watch it that's inspired, just one. That was always my goal when I stood on the stage. It was like, if I can inspire one person to give, then I've done my job. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, we need to take that ripple effect into action and build something off of it because,
You
like you
bet.
said, you just hoped one person would watch it, and
Right.
then that person told someone, and look at everything that happened.
And
So,
that's what did, right? And that's
yeah,
exactly what keeps happening. One person just keeps telling one person, look at you and I are here today, right? Somewhere along the line, you found us and now we're here. And now we get to talk to everybody in your audience. And that's the ripple effect right there.
that is the ripple effect right there. I'm definitely going to take that into consideration when I'm doing my plans here moving forward.
Perfect.
Um, there's already so many amazing things that we've discussed. I'd love to get into more of the opportunity aspect, how people feel
Mhm.
that they may not have the opportunity, just like I mentioned. How we want to relaunch the Caravan of Talents, but don't feel like we have that full opportunity. Obviously, I have a different look on that now after
Right.
you just
Mhm.
imparted that wisdom to me.
So
Um,
yes, us old people are pretty good. We got some wisdom with us.
That's the point. Once you hit that 50 and your wisdom starts
That's
growing,
it. It
that's
starts
all you gotta
going.
do, impart it. Um, so like I mentioned, we have this really important core value around the integration of diversity of culture
Yeah.
into our lives. How do you think that this could have an effect on seniors and impact a person as a whole?
From the senior's perspective or the person that's supporting them?
I think let's do both. Let's hear
Okay.
from how a senior might be affected by this and how someone stepping forward and trying to help a senior through
Right.
this whole diverse world.
Well, this is one of the things I can promise you as you start to become a senior, and not only have I see this in my mother, but honestly, I see it in myself, even in my
Yeah.
50s, is you start to lose things in your life. And when I say lose things, I don't mean potentially your house or your items that you have. You start losing your memory. You start forgetting things. You don't have the physical stance that you used to have, right? I know for my mother, who's now 87, she has to use a walker. She used to walk for miles and miles and miles, and she now needs that stability, the walker to take her from point A to point B. She can't go as far as she can anymore. She can't get out and have her freedom. She can't drive a car anymore. So all of these things, they start to feel like things have been taken away from them.
Hmm.
And with that, your community gets much smaller. When she used to
Yeah.
drive a car, she could go on a road trip, right? When she used to be able to walk to the mall and back without any support, she used to be able to walk for hours and along the way meet lots of people, and her world was bigger. And so, what we know about seniors is that as you get older, and especially physically and mentally, your world starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller until for many seniors, it's not beyond your door,
Yeah.
right? And so now, instead of looking out into the world like you and I do and go, oh, I have all these things to look forward to. And this is the feedback that I've gotten from seniors is they literally feel like they're just sitting there waiting to die because there's not a lot for them anymore.
Yeah.
Some of them don't have access to, or don't you know what? They may have access to a phone or a tablet or a computer, but they don't know how to work it. And we sit there and we go, what do you mean you don't know how to work it? Well,
Yeah.
I promise you, I was not born with this in my hand like many of you out there may have been.
Yeah.
I started with when I say an old Mac, even, the screen was like this wide. It was this big by this wide, and the screen was literally this wide, right? I had one of those towers that sat on the floor for years. I didn't feed off of a laptop. And I certainly didn't have one of these things that is just innately, um,
A
doing
laptop in
everything
your hand.
intuitively
Yeah.
for you, right? So what we know is that because a senior's brain, when your brain gets old, it just slows down. It's that simple. So the fact that you could sit and show a senior how to connect so that they could get photographs from their grandkids or have conversations, and that's what I've done now is connected my kids, with my mother so they can text back and forth and message each other. That alone is huge. But you're
Yeah.
not going to do it the first time. You're not going to do it the second time. It may take 5 times until they actually get it. So, for us opening a senior's world, this is what these give them. We know how to use these, a lot of them don't. But when we give them this, their world has gone from this little world they can't get out of in their apartment potentially to now a big world that has opened up to them again because they have access to this. They can listen to the music, they can watch YouTube, they can do all of those things that you and I do very innately now, but we've just opened up their world again. So now they have something to look forward to, even if it's Love is Blind on Netflix or whatever it may be, they feel more connected to the world around them. And that's really what we're all craving is how do we feel connection? And so now let's go to the people, you guys who are connecting to these seniors, you're also creating that for them. What we know about human beings is we are social creatures, and our number one path to happiness literally is connection with others. And when seniors are locked down in their apartments or wherever they might be staying, and they can't get out and about, having a youth come in and spending a little bit of time, a cup of tea, a coffee, some time teaching them something that they couldn't do themselves, or just sitting listening. Maybe you're reading, maybe they don't have the eyesight and you're reading them a book. Like it's so many things, right? And when you do that, they feel connected again. And then that just increases their human happiness. And really, even to the day you die, isn't that what we all want? We just want
Yeah.
those feelings of happiness, feelings of connection to the world around us, giving us purpose and meaning.
Mm. No, I
And so
love
it goes both ways. That's the exchange for both of us, right? Gives purpose and meaning to somebody your age and gives them purpose and meaning as well.
I feel like that is something that, we keep coming across in these episodes is that just someone wants to feel heard, someone wants to feel appreciated. And that is something that we can give each other just through that connection. Something that really stuck out to me is when you were talking about seniors as like the world is growing around them so rapidly, even faster than they're aging. Um, they feel like they might have lost things. And, I relate to that personally. My Grammy's a big hiker. You were saying your mom used to love to go on these huge walks and whatnot. And she was so upset when she had to start buying hiking boots because her runners couldn't cut it anymore. The
Right.
the
And
pain.
the sticks, the hiking sticks,
Yeah.
right? Just for balance.
And she
Right?
was just absolutely choked that she couldn't like do something she loves so much in the way she
Yeah,
used to just because she's aging.
right.
And
And we're all going to do it. Like, I know you're
yeah.
21, but unfortunately, you're going to age out too. Or I hope you're going to age out. That would be the goal, is that we're all going to go through this. I can't run marathons anymore, I promise. Right?
No, I've danced my entire life. I used to be able
There you
to
go.
do over split, jump on my head, put my leg around my neck. I definitely can't do that anymore. So I should get back in
Yeah.
the yoga studio. Well,
Exactly. Do it now when you're 50. It's way more painful.
yeah, I firmly believe that if you don't use it, you lose it. So we better use it while we still can, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I'd like to touch deeper onto this difference between marginalized groups and those who aren't in like the regular norm of society. So there are minority and marginalized groups within the senior population,
Yeah.
and they might face more difficulties in aging care and not receive as sufficient attention as others. Why do you think that this may be, and how can we kind of tackle that?
That's a good question. Well, listen, the reality is that as you become a senior, and certainly much older, you're being cared for by others. And you can't always control what the opinions and values are of other people.
Mhm.
So what we know, especially here in Canada, is that a lot of times, I'm not going to say always, but there's been many records of Indigenous people not being treated the same way for care as regular Canadians, which always absolutely amazes me. And there's a stigma and there's boundaries and there's division that are put on Indigenous people, and you use them specifically. Obviously, we know that there's so many more than that. But because we're both Canadian, I like to shine a light on our Indigenous people and um, the unfortunate life circumstances that they've been put in, and how they're continually separated out from the rest of us. So we know that unfortunately we can't control everybody else's
Yeah.
how they're going to treat people. And that's
Yeah.
just the reality. And when you're a senior, you don't have that control either. You don't always know who you're hiring, or you don't know who you're going to get if you're in a place where you're getting care, or a building where it's communal care. You don't always know who you're getting, whether we like it or not. So I think what we can do as individuals, and I'll give you an example of this gentleman that I was talking about earlier, the homeless gentleman down on the street. When I
Yeah.
say I thought, he looked a lot like Santa. Well, he was an Iranian Santa. So
Oh.
his background, he had a big white beard, but he was Iranian. And I don't know what it is about me. I promise you, I don't look at anybody and say you're different than I am. I
Yeah.
don't care your accent. I don't care the color. And I've always been like this. This was the culture in my home, is that nobody's different.
Mm.
Culture in my home is that we're all the same.
Yeah.
And so I believe that that's the way that I was brought up. I didn't have parents that said, there's a difference between black or yellow or whatever color accents.
Yeah.
Everybody was welcome in our home. And so I think that's what we can do to help any situation, is when we come forward without any boundaries, people witness that. And I think that's the big one, is that when our youth come to our seniors and don't treat them any differently, no matter their religion, their race, their culture, their language, when our youth are showing everybody else and leading that path with absolutely nothing but care and love, then all of a sudden people witness that. And I think that's the big one that we have to remember when we talk about giving. When you're giving, we don't have to inspire. I don't have to sit here and tell you all the ways to give. But if you watched me picking up garbage down at the beach, or if you watched me helping that homeless man down at the beach, you would innately be taking that information in. And
Mhm.
whether you realized it or not, you'd be going, wow, she's hugging that homeless man on the beach. And wow, she's bringing him home. She's bringing him food. Right, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, just in witnessing that, we're all learning. And
Yeah.
so I think that's the big part, is that when, especially with our youth, when they're standing up and they're going and caring for seniors, no matter what, that there is no stigmas, there is no boundaries. You're not saying, no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking care of that senior because they're Chinese, right? Well, that's going to be the problem. But when instead you say, I'm happy to help anyone, all of
Mhm.
a sudden that's creating the unity, right?
Yeah.
That's showing the way, that's showing the path that you're not seeing any other race, religion, sex, color. I mean, I hate to say it, but you and I are women. We
Yeah.
are a group that has been stigmatized and and treated differently for thousands and thousands of years,
The dawn
right?
of time, really. Yes.
Completely and totally. So, we're part of that marginalized group in our own way. So that's where we can just keep leading the path. And I think that's the biggest one is how do we just lead by example? We can't convince anybody of anything. You can't tell somebody who's racist not to be racist. It will never work. You can only go lead the path and show them that they have absolutely no reason to be racist.
I think this all stems back to, humans being an observant creature.
Mm,
Like our monkeys, who we
right?
may or
That's how
may
we
not have
learn.
evolved from. Our eyes are one of our biggest things. Like, we have amazing color vision, some of the best color vision on earth of any species. And when we see something, we do something about it, whether it's positive or negative. But if we are seeing more positive things happen, like giving without restriction, just being that open person who is like willing to even listen to another person, that is going to affect those who are watching,
Yeah,
listening,
absolutely.
and they're going to take that in. Like that goes back to just us being so observant. We are always looking at what's going on, and that's um all of those things like
Lessons, right? I mean, what they
sexism.
know is from 0 to 7, right? So if there's any parents out there watching, even if you're not a parent, think about this as a youth as well. From 0 to 7 is your greatest learning. It's when your
Like a
brain is
sponge.
growing and expanding. And that's not because it's big verbal communication. There's years there with no verbal communication, right? That's just because you're lying there as a baby watching everything that's going on around you. You're
Yeah.
feeling a vibration, you're feeling whether somebody's yelling, you're feeling whether somebody's loving. That's all vibration, right?
Yeah.
And that's proven. This isn't like woo woo anything. It's actually
Yeah.
proven that, if you're angry has a very different, vibration than love does. And it's not simple. So if you've grown up in an atmosphere where your parents potentially are racist, that's all you know. That's what you
Yeah.
learned, right? That's what you were conditioned to.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your own life and you're going, oh yeah, that person is different because of their color, take a look back. Well, where did you
Why
get
do
that
you think
from?
that? Yeah.
Why completely and totally? What? Because you weren't born that way. You didn't come out going, oh yeah, I don't like you because you're black.
Hmm.
I like you because you're white. I like you because you're a white male, and I don't like you because you're a Chinese woman, right? So all of the things that we categorize, and I'm just using these as examples. It's not how I feel about it at all. But you didn't come out that way. You learned it along the way somewhere. So take a look at your own life. Where did you learn that behavior? Who taught you that? Where did you look out into the world and decide that, that a black person isn't as good as a white person? Where did that come from? Look at that programming that's going on, because our brains are just like a computer. We were talking about algorithms at the beginning of this show, how we could
Yeah.
change algorithms. Well, what you're watching on your phone, watch your computer, on the TV, these are informing our brain, whether you realize it or not, or you go, it's real or it's not real. You're being informed by this. You're taking in that information and your brain is doing something with it. And it's creating its own algorithm on when it looks out in the world. You and I could see the exact same thing.
Hmm.
You've all done this before. Let's say you have a brother or sister at home and you talk about, oh, do you remember when that happened at Christmas time? And your sister goes, oh, that was the worst thing, blah, blah, blah. And you go, what are you talking about? I didn't experience that at all. So you were in the exact same space, the exact same moment of time, but your experiences were two completely, totally
Yeah.
different things. And so that would be the same for, let's say, you and I. You and I go to a senior's home. There is a person of color there, and there is a person of not color. And I just see the same. I'm like, bring it on, let's go help. And yet somebody else might go, no, I'm only going to help this person. because I'm not prepared to help that person of color. They probably deserve to be where they're at or whatever it may be. But for some reason, there's been a lens that's been put over, a program that's been put into their brain that's saying, yeah, I can't do that. That, person doesn't deserve it, or I don't like that person because of the color of their skin or their religion or whatever it may be. We can put into any of those. They're gay, they're not gay, they're trans, right? They have blue fingernails and they're a boy, right?
Yeah.
All of those things, those judgments that are programmed into us. But we can look at those. We can look at all of those and go start questioning them. Why do I have that? Where does that belief come from?
And even if you have been brought up in environments and experiences that do have enforced those types of, discriminations, it's always just taking the step, looking back, reflecting on yourself. And it's, how can I try to change this? How can I make it so that I don't put this same thoughts and programming into someone else's head? How can I change and try to improve myself so that I'm not perpetuating these same narratives?
Right. Exactly. And that's how it goes, right? It goes from generation to generation. A lot of these are bred and born in us, and a lot of us are learned. And then how can we stop that buck, right? How do we stop it right where it is? I'm an adoptive mom. I have 3 boys that have been adopted. All of their birth mothers were addicts. It goes back multi-generations in their family. But what we know is that we can stop it right now in this generation. It doesn't have to continue for another generation in their family, and we can stop it right now. And so that's the choice that we're making as a family, is how do we stop that buck right here? And so when we look at our Indigenous people and the trauma that they've been through, we're all saying the same thing right now, is let's stop it right here. Let's recognize what's been done and let's stop the trauma right here. We're not going to forget it. We're not going to put it under the rug anymore. We're not going to pretend it didn't happen. We're going to look at it. We're going to shine a lot of light on it, a lot of love on it, and we're going to make things right so that the generational trauma stops here.
Yeah. And I love that you're bringing up generational trauma, because that's what it is. And
we can do a whole show just for generational trauma.
Exactly. And it's so relevant, especially in senior communities, because it's harder to change, and it's harder to
ways.
It's harder to listen to people that are younger than you. Like, that's why a lot of people are very standoffish about Gen Z joining the workforce and having all these different ideals and value systems and priorities that are completely different from people from the generations before, Gen X, millennials, and the baby boomers, of course. So that is just, it's something so hard to change. But if you're not making those increments where you can, then how are we ever going to expect to do something about it, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. What we know is we can't change other people. We can only show up differently for them. So when you go and approach a senior, we're not trying to change them. We're trying to potentially improve their life in one way or another. And if that's through a little bit of happiness, a little bit of love, a little bit of time, a little bit of listening, all of those things, we're not going to change that senior. But what we know we can do is that when we shift potentially their depression, when we shift how they're feeling, that's the part that's going to shift. That's the part that's going to change. It changes their perspective and it changes their outlook. And that's when people begin to change. It's not because you sit there and you say, stop being a cranky old fart. Right? Instead, I'm just going to stand. I'm going to stand. No matter what you do, I'm going to stand in my own happiness. No matter what you say, I'm going to be here to help if you want my help. No matter how frustrating you find this, no matter how many times I have to show you how to use your phone, I'm going to stand here doing it happily. And then you're just going to come along for the ride. And that's what happens, because happiness is contagious, literally. And so when you stand in that place for somebody else, no matter how they try to, waver you differently, that will eventually rub off on them. Literally, we can just rub happiness like all over people.
Yeah.
And at some point it will catch on.
No, exactly. And that just goes back to what we were saying about that ripple effect. And if you're willing to do something, someone else is going to observe and is going to build from that, and it's going to just grow from there.
It will.
I think that just pulled together so many of our different topics we brought up.
It was the whole gamut today. I love it. But you know what? This is what I love, Piper, about, for me, talking to our youth, is that I think you're all brilliant. I think the perspective and the vision and the world that you've been opened up to is exactly what we need right now, because we didn't have this connection. We didn't know what it was like on the other side of the world. When somebody said there was a war going on, we didn't get to see it. It
No,
doesn't
you
give
would
you
have
that
no idea.
perspective. So there's a war going on. That's great. I don't really know what that means. Now we're so connected in that way, and you can be connected. I know most of my best friends in the world right now, for me, none of them live here in Canada. They're all in different corners of the earth. And I was literally thinking this morning, because I was literally working right through the night on 4 different timetables for this All for Love campaign. So I was working with people in the Netherlands and in London and in Ireland, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're not sleeping." I'm like, "Time, space, reality. It's just changed for today. I'm not working in this time zone. I'm working with my global family," right? And that's what you all have, is you have this global perspective that we never did. So I love that about all of you, and I love the work that you're doing with Love Caravan. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. And really, you've changed like at least my outlook. And I bet my teammates that are watching this right now have the same
Yeah,
outlook.
Alexander has no choice in the matter.
Yeah. You don't get a say.
Exactly. He just
But
has to sit and listen.
well, that's what you get when you got a representative, right?
Exactly. Our tech support team. We always like to thank the tech support team that's behind these lives, because you need them. And Alexander, thank you for being our tech team behind the scenes today.
Um, yeah, I know he's super appreciative taking in all this information. And yeah, I think my whole team's going to take a step back and look at how we can do something from the cards we're dealt. On the path that we're on, what can we do now? Why hesitate? Why not move forward? Why give an excuse when we can do something? No,
Right.
maybe we can't do the
Right.
full 10 yards, but we can
Yet.
at least do two.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Just always say that. It's just not yet, but this is what I can do to work towards it, because the world wants to see you guys. They want to see these videos. They want to see what you're doing. And if you guys can do some stuff right where you are, I have somebody in the Netherlands called Bright Vibes Media. Take a look at the work they do. I will connect you with them. Let's get the videos out on the work that you are doing. And because that's what they do, they want to show the good news. And I'm happy to make those connections for you as well, so the world can see the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I it definitely changed my perspective. I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, I think this is going so well. I'd like to move forward into our next segment. Um, as I've mentioned before, and it's one of our main pillars here at LC, that it is really important for us here to really express youth art around the world, because we know the impacts that it has on people from all over. And, to give exposure to youth is really important for us because, they have less network. So I'd like to bring attention to one of our Caravana Talents champions, which is a online talent campaign that reaches all around the world, because it's an online format, and they're able to show their talents. And then we have this nice array of artists to pull from whenever we do our cross Canada volunteer tour, and as we move towards planning our gala, and to have these performances come live on the show. So I'd be happy to showcase this video here. So everyone stay tuned. Let me make sure this is ready to go. Okay, perfect. Sorry, one sec.
It's okay.
Was that green on your end?
It was green on my end. Yes.
That
Was
is
it not meant to be green?
that is so
I
weird.
thought it was a really cool color.
No, if we can't get around that, tech issues, then we'll just have to have it green. But I know I have a version that is not green. So in the meantime, while I get this ready, why don't you share an experience of how you find art has affected the ability to give back and made an impact on people's lives?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to swap it around the other way we had somebody who had come across 365 Give, and she was a phenomenal artist, and she offered that she would donate some of our art to 365 Give. And, listen, that's not really what we don't, to donate stuff to us. We don't like turn around and do a lot of things with it. But, after I had a chat with her and, she really wanted to use her time, her skills, her talents to do something. I said, well, let's do this. I said, if you can make us some art, we're going to give it to our donors as just a special thank you.
Mm.
And so that was a really lovely way, something, for us to give something back to some of our key large donors as a special thank you, and to be able to do that. And it was a lovely way for her to give. It was a beautiful way for us to give to the people that support our organization. And I think that's one of the things as well that, especially for youth, we need our creative outlets, right? It's so important.
Mhm.
And whether it's, you guys do an online art show or art sale to support your organization, that's always one way of looking at it. There's lots of those that go along. Listen, sitting down and doing art with seniors, a beautiful project you can do, but even something else. And there's an organization here in Vancouver that does this, is they do art for homeless people. And what they do is they create cards with art, and then they actually send it to their estranged relatives as a connection point for these people that are living on the street, as kind of like that first hello invitation. To maybe they can connect a bit. Listen, we always say art just as a note of gratitude. We think gratitude is giving. I don't think it's just kindness. We think gratitude is a big part of giving. And what better way than to make beautiful cards to use as notes of gratitude that you guys can give out. And I hate to say it, but I know how talented some of the youth are these days. Why
Yeah.
not make them as an opportunity to sell cards and or postcards that people could purchase? Right.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that you could look at it on how it can all, support your organization, and then how you can use it as just small ways of giving back to the community or notes of gratitude. Like I always say, just like, how great is it to send somebody a card in the mail? Like, who does that? So when you get a card in the mail from somebody these days, it's a big deal,
It's
right?
so
It's a big
different.
deal,
It's such a different experience. And yeah,
right?
I'm right alongside with you in thinking that, art has a bigger way to impact people because it doesn't just speak through words, but it speaks through like energy. It speaks through
Oh,
vibration. It speaks through so
right.
much. So I think it's so important. And I'd love to let's tune
Let's
into
take a look.
he is Ukrainian, all the way from across the world. Amazing professional circus performer. And yeah, I've interviewed him in the past. He's an amazing person.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Isn't that just the most like
Incredible.
incredible thing you've ever seen in your life? Um,
Absolutely.
so when we decided that we wanted to bring back some performers from Caravan of Talents, Jekka Deterov was the first person that came to my mind.
Absolutely.
It's like so amazing to see like such a different talent from a different part of the world who actually cares to make an impact in society. So thank you so much, Jekka.
Love it.
Everyone, please go check out his page. We have it on our Instagram. Feel free to follow him and keep up with his
Ugh,
career.
why wouldn't you want to? I was sitting here and I was thinking about the youth and, all the work that you're all doing. I think that's really for all of us is how do we find, like, I look at him and go, oh my God, I could never do that. The reality is probably if any one of us chose to, we physically could. All of our bodies are made ultimately to do it. But he found something that just it's like it turned on the light, right? And
Yeah,
it's his passion, and you can see it. It comes through not just in his ability, but his passion, right? And you
yeah.
can see that commitment to that craft. And I think that's for all of us is what's the thing that just turns you on, right? I mean, Pippa, you're already amazing at just doing these. I sit here and I go, oh my God, why can't I do this with our community, right? And you're just a natural. You do it innately and naturally, and it's beautiful for me to watch. And I think that's what we all need to look at. What is it what's that thing? You don't have to go looking for it because I think it's already built into us. I think we just need to go out and try enough things. Like I said, when I was 21, if you told me I'd be running a charity and, all the things that I've
I
done,
tell you, you're crazy. Yeah.
like never, that was not my path. Right. But when we start to really see, this happened with my son yesterday. So Nick, who I started 365 Give with, he's now 16. That's how old I'm getting. And yeah. And yesterday he is when I say he's a natural, he's been a natural snowboarder since he was like grade 4.
Yeah.
And so he won a major competition last night. And I had said to him before he did the competition, I said, you already know this is ingrained in who you are. I said, you just need to breathe and just let go. I said, because it's
Yeah.
just gonna happen whether it's not that he didn't have to try, but it's going to innately, you're going to take this just because you've done the work. You know what you love. You know how to do this in your sleep.
Mhm.
I said, and it'll just come through for you. And I think that's what I saw in him. Like, what a beautiful gift he gets. What a beautiful gift he gets to give to the world through something that he loves. And that's really for all of us, when we find those things that just turn on that light switch, we got to go for it.
Yeah, we even have people in our stream chat saying that they're breathless. They're speechless
Right.
that like just seeing something like that. And that's what we're trying to do here, trying to show that there are things that people have to give to the world that are going to create an impact. So
Well, and we all do, right? We all have that. It's just a matter of, not being, first of all, scared of it. Listen, if anybody went to the 365 Give website, they look at the very first blog post. We now have 1,100 blog posts, okay, on 365 Give, because that's how it started. It didn't start as a website. It started as a blog that I used to write. And that very first one is still there. And if you went and looked at that, it was literally, I'm just going to take a leap of faith. I'm not a writer. I'm not some social media guru, none of it. I'm just going to take a leap. I'm really scared, but I'm just going to do it and let's see what happens. And then all
and
of a sudden you've said yes, right? It's like you've said yes to the world and the world just starts opening up doors. And as long as you keep saying yes, even if they're small incremental steps, that yes allows the universe just to bring to you what you need.
I love that. And I think that not everyone, no one actually is fully ready for everything they come across, and
No,
everything
you
is
don't want to
ready.
be.
No, you jump in blind for everything.
Yeah.
So I think
Listen, you don't want the whole buffet in one night, right? If you're going to a
no.
restaurant and you're going to the buffet, you don't want to eat all of it all in one sitting. You just want to try a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. You might come back another time. You try a little more, a little of this, a little of that.
Yep.
It's like people say about manifestation. Oh, I want to win $100 million. Well, here's the funny thing is that great. So you can now go buy all that stuff you've been dreaming about. Now what? Where's the fun in the journey? Where's the fun in the experience? Where do you gain the wisdom along the way if you don't actually walk the path, right? And
Yeah.
it's a little bumpy and it's a little rough sometimes, but that's all part of the journey, right?
Yeah. And there's no better teacher than your own mistakes, right? So
Right?
what are you gonna
Yep,
do?
it's
If
the
you never make
best.
any, you're never gonna learn anything.
Right? That's the best part of our resume. I was just thinking about this morning, and we think about all these credentials that everybody expects us to have in regards to, the PhD behind our name, the schools you went to, blah blah, all of those things. And I was thinking about it today. I'm like, yeah, I can list a whole bunch of credentials that I've had in my lifetime, from whatever, my parents getting divorced, right? Abuse through my life, two divorces, like it keeps going. And I go, yeah, these are actually all of my life credentials.
Yeah.
Doing 365 give and giving every day. That's more of a credential that's given me anything in my lifetime. I didn't
Mhm.
go to university. I didn't finish my high school, but all of this has given me all that I needed to build a resume that's I wouldn't change for anything.
I think that that would be a great piece of advice for any youth out there. And, that people aren't going to remember you for the minuscule mistakes that you make. They're going to
No.
remember for the good that you do and the good
Yeah,
that you make other people feel, that
absolutely.
you admit that feeling. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask a little bit more on what advice you would give to youth out there.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, those things that I wish somebody had told me, right?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. I would say whatever's holding you back, look at it.
Hmm.
Look at it really closely. The only thing that holds us back in our own lives is our fear, right? So now you guys are saying with Love Caravan right now, yeah, well, we don't have the funding to do the big picture things we want. That's okay. You can still step to the one step. You can do something right now, right? So, and I would say that's for everybody is do what you need to do to take one step past your fear.
Yeah.
And listen, I still do that today. I have a show that I do on with an organization called Humanity's Team, and every time I have to ask some world best-selling author or somebody else to do an interview, it scares the crap out of me to
Yeah.
send an email, right? To go, oh my God, would you be on our show? Probably in the same way that it does for you. Lots of times where it's like, oh my God, they might not want to come or whatever it may be. And it's those moments that every time you take a step past your fear, it just makes you braver and braver. And I think that's what holds us back the most in our life is that, make sure that you know how to take care of your mental health and well-being.
Yeah.
What we know in the world today is forget COVID, forget all the other things that are going on. Our world's greatest pandemic right now is our state of mental health and well-being.
Hmm.
So if you don't know what that means, start educating yourself. You have this phenomenal tool, and it's called the University of YouTube, where you can learn everything you want to know about how to take care of yourself. Not everybody can afford to go to therapy. Not everybody needs to go to therapy. But if you're not feeling right, if you're not feeling, I'm not saying happy all the time, nobody does. Okay. So, maybe Buddha or, Thich Nhat Hanh or any of those that have sat and meditated for, endless years to get to that point, but that's not the average person. So, know how to create happiness in your life. We did this over COVID. We created happiness toolboxes. So
Yeah.
on the days that were tough, we knew how to create. I know how to create on the tough days. I know how to change it around. Maybe an hour, it may be 10 hours before I change it around, but I know 20 different things that I can do. And literally, my phone is one of them. I've created
Yeah.
music playlists. I have meditation lists. I have writing tools. I have, like, you name it. I can reach out to friends. I can do daily gives right from my phone, right?
Yeah.
So I use the things around me and the tools that I know that will increase my well-being and happiness. I know how to turn on the happiness switch, the love switch. We all have it inside us because
Yeah.
this isn't just an emotion, it's actually a chemical reaction that happens in our brains and bodies. The
For
switch that we
dopamine.
can
Yeah.
turn on, right? We call it actually your daily dose of happiness. And so that includes dopamine. Okay, so that's your reward center. Like, how can you go get a reward? And I don't mean by, going and vaping. You can get a reward by delivering cookies to your neighbors, right? You're going to get a hit of dopamine. Oxytocin is your love. You need a hug, right? You need connection with other people. You need to take care of an animal, take care of our planet. That will give you oxytocin. It doesn't have to be a swipe on some app, left or right, right? Go looking for it. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about romantic love. Then you've got serotonin. Well, that's our body's happiness switch. And so know the things that make you happy. When I look out my window, I know I can go look out at my garden and that will create happiness for me. This morning was the great example. I got up a little on the wrong side of the bed. I put my running shoes on and I went for a run down in the ocean because I knew by the time I got back, my mood will have completely and totally
Yeah,
changed. Okay.
total
I
inverse.
turned it all on because I got my E. The E for dose is your endorphins.
Mhm.
And I kicked in my endorphins, right? And that's your just natural high that you can get. So know how your body works. Think of it like a car, right? We're given this car that we get into when we come to this planet and off we go and we get to drive it. Well, if you don't feed your car well, right? If you don't take care of it, if you don't tune it up, if you don't know how it's running, if you don't listen for those little sounds that things aren't quite right, well, then your car's not going to run so well,
Yep.
right? And so it's the same thing with our bodies. Use this body as the tool for your own happiness, your own well-being, your own mental health. And I wish somebody had told me those things and how to do that when I was younger. It's taken me this long to get there. But now you have, like I said, the University of YouTube is at your hands, and that just literally key in. It's how everybody says they find my TED Talk. They literally key in how to be happy. And you're going to get 1,000 things, a million people you can learn from. There's no excuse anymore on not knowing how to be happy if you have a device in your hand, because all the answers are there. You just got to go try them out and see what works best for you. We have
Yep.
this fun thing. I'm going to see if I do it. I teach a happiness class to young kids. I'm going to show you something. And we call these our happiness classes. And one of the things that I use are my, right? How do we
Oh,
change
I
our,
love those.
right? So these are my blue heart-shaped glasses. How do you look at the world through the lens of love, right? And so we talk about this. How do you change your perspective? How do you change literally the way that you're looking out at the world? Because we all have that choice on how we can do that. So get yourself a pair of sunglasses, and every time you need a reminder that you can change the way you view the world, do that. Put your sunglasses on, get your pink ones, whatever worked for you, and look out at the world differently, because your view can change based on the way you look at it. All
Oh,
right.
I need to get my shades on too,
There you go.
just so I can get
See, and
that
all of a
view.
sudden things look
I'm
different. The
immediately a different
color
person.
changes, right? We view it all differently. Listen, if a hummingbird was flying out at my window right now, or a rainbow pops into my view, all of a sudden you're looking at the world differently,
Mhm.
right? And we all know that. I did that the other morning this week. I went out right out the door. I was in the worst mood ever. And at the end of my street, there was a rainbow. And I went chasing rainbows. I just said, okay, that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go chase it. And all of a sudden, my mood changed.
Yeah.
So you talked about this earlier, is that I'm not saying bad things don't happen in our life. I'm not saying that sometimes things aren't really tough and really brutal for so many reasons.
Mhm.
I can pretty much name all of them, that whatever you've gone through, I've probably had it 10 times over in my life.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's all how we decide we're going to experience it. We're going to take it in. We're going to process it. Listen, I was born and my mother almost died when I was born, and I was pulled away from her and separated from her and all those things. And my kids as adopted kids, my kids could literally be angry and hurt that they were adopted and their parents gave them up and all of those things. That's not my kids' experience.
Yeah.
It's not what they and how they view the world. They view it as a place of love because their parents love them so much they gave them up, right?
Yeah.
Because they know what their life would have been like otherwise.
Mhm.
So for all of the ways that we could view the world and take our experiences and make everything negative from them, we have that choice on how we
Yeah.
process it.
Why not look at it positively? And I know it definitely takes me a second to like, let me step back.
Oh,
Let me
many
figure out
seconds.
how to turn this. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And I'm not saying use toxic positivity by any means. Don't just try and change your mind. Process the information, see it for what it is. What am I really sitting on right now? How am I actually processing this? What is it really doing to me? Am I being as hurt as I really think I am? So you got dumped by your boyfriend or girlfriend. Well, shit, it happens to all of us, right?
yeah.
Excuse my language, but and it's like, yes, it's going to hurt right now. Yes, I'm going to feel this, but what can I take away from this? What can I take
Yeah.
forward? What's my next partner going to look like? What do I want differently from this? Right. And all of a sudden we can start looking at it differently once the pain starts to subside rather than getting stuck in it.
No, I think that is something that we can all like bring into our own lives and try to
Yeah.
improve. improve every day, just for the betterment of ourselves. You know, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you're stuck with yourself for forever. So,
Ever. Forever.
yeah.
I always say this, people come and go. I don't care if it's a marriage, it's your kids, it's whatever, your parents, people come and go, but man, you're stuck with yourself forever. So,
Yeah.
and know that when you change where you're at, that's your impact,
Mhm.
right? You're changing everybody around you.
Yeah.
And even if you do nothing, you're not making cookies for the fire department, you're not helping the seniors. If you focus on your own happiness and well-being and mental health, that changes everything around you.
No, 100%. I wanted to ask you who there would be if you were to nominate someone to be on our show in the future, whether it's someone
Mm,
from your youth network, someone from your academic network, your professional colleagues, or even someone that you've like just come into crossing before
yeah,
that you think could be useful. Who do you think you would nominate to be on the show, and what could they bring?
absolutely. Oh, so many people. I would love to see you guys talk to the Pollination Project. Um, You'll have to see who their executive director has recently changed. But I would love to see you talk to the Pollination Project because they're an organization out of the United States and they give $1,000 a day. It's a grant. You guys could actually apply for this.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you could. So we'll have that conversation. So the Pollination Project for now, I don't know how many years, they gave us our very first seed grant of $1,000. That's how 365 Give started. And what I love about the work they do is they do so much with youth. They've seen the impact that youth can have. I think that that's worth a conversation with them for sure,
mm-hmm.
to understand that a little bit more. Who else would I like you to talk to? So many people. But I want to take this from the angle of, what do youth really need these days as well, and who do they need to hear from? I would love to see you guys. It's another organization called Joyely, and it's spelled Joyely. I think if there's anything that youth need right now is an understanding of how to help manage their mental health. I think it's our biggest struggle. I think it's one of our world's literally biggest problems, is how we all manage our mental health and understanding that.
Mm.
I'd love to see you, and I don't have one off the top that I could suggest, but I'd love to see you reaching out to a neuroscientist, or a happiness specialist, or well-being specialist, that you guys would talk to. Actually, Stephen's not really that person. Let me think about it. I'll come back around too, and I'll have some people for you afterwards. But yeah, the Pollination Project hits me just because I know what an impact the youth make that they work with. And the work they do in the world is really wonderful. So I'd love to see you chatting with them. I'd love to see you getting a grant from them is what I'd love to
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
I would love to
And you guys can apply for that.
Okay, well, I wrote those notes down, so we can definitely reach out to these people. Those were some of my main questions that I really wanted to get out before. And we're coming to a certain time where people are going to have
Yes.
to head out, but I would
Yes.
love to do a quick game with you real quick. And it's kind of relating to what we're talking about, and it can inspire the people watching.
Right. Mm.
So
There
this
it
is
is.
our
Mhm.
good deeds
We
bingo.
have one of these. Yep. I love it.
So you already know how it works. For
I
those
do.
in the audience, we are going to go through some of these little deeds, and we'll see who's gonna be able to make a row of four first. I'm going against a tough candidate over here, giving every single day, so I don't know if I'm gonna be
Oh my
able
God. I
to
gotta see if
beat
I
you
can
in
do any
this.
of these.
Okay. To
I
give
just lost. I can't see the sheet. There we go. Okay, there it
to
is.
give me more of an advantage, should I start at the bottom of the top?
Let's start at the bottom.
Okay, perfect. So have you sent a thoughtful message recently?
Well, I did actually. I did this morning, to a friend, about her being an angel, actually. That's
Wow.
exactly what I did. I do those almost every day because
Yeah.
to me that's like it's such an easy one, right? And I'll do it not only to just friends in my life, but I will do it. I really like to do it on social media, where I'll see somebody's post that I think was really thoughtful. And whether that's sending them a direct DM, or I'll just even a comment in their post where I'll make sure I take the time, because it's easy, especially on Instagram. We all know, you throw some hearts, you throw a smiley, but to actually type something thoughtful, I think that's a really big one for most people. So that's something that I do pretty much every day.
You know, I probably don't send as many as I should. I definitely don't send as many as you, but I did send one today. It was also
You
to
did good.
Jecca, just to,
Perfect.
thank him for being so amazing and
I love
beautiful.
that. Perfect.
So Alex, feel free to give that point to whoever. But I feel like we know who's going to win this one. Have you shared in a cultural tradition lately?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Actually, you know what? This might count. I got a funny story for you because this happened literally right before we came on the show, and I've never done this before. I have a friend who's in London, England right now on work, and he's really sick. He came down with the flu and literally was texting me from his hotel room saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sick." And he said, "But I have to go get something to eat." And I said, "Don't do anything. Just stay there." Said, "Just don't get out of bed." And so I've never done this before, but I went onto my Uber. So I'm in Vancouver, Canada. He's
Okay.
in London, England. I went onto my Uber. I got him to pin me exactly where he was, send me a map. You know how people do that. And
Yeah.
so I knew where he was. I looked up his hotel. And there's a cultural thing in here. And so I ordered him, because in London, England, the two big foods that they have, British food. There is British food, we all know, but the other food that it's actually eaten more than traditional British food is food from India, is Indian food. And so I ordered him an Uber delivery to his hotel of Indian food. So that was
Oh,
my 365 gift today, and a shared cultural tradition because we actually both have an Indian background in our families. My mother was actually born in India.
mm.
And so our families are intertwined. He's kind of a family friend. And so that was the cultural tradition because when we get together for family reunions, we always have Indian food. That's kind of the tradition in our family. So that's my really funny story that I've never done before. And so if you want to give to somebody, send them an Uber Eats. That's my new
Hey, the
365
the
gift.
quickest way to someone's heart is through their stomach, right?
Right, right. And remember what we know too is that, what I knew about him, and he said it as well, because we got on the phone and had a chat when the food arrived, was that it brings you back to moments in time. Right. So maybe it was you and your friend had gone and shared a meal wherever you went for sushi, whatever it was. Right. But that can bring back those beautiful memories, or traditions that were in your own family. So especially if you have a specific culture that you celebrate in your own family, like we do with our Indian food, that's a beautiful way to really make a great connection with somebody who, I mean, he's in London, the other side of the world, right? I'm not going to see him for months. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is my moment. So thank you for allowing me to share that, because I was going to say no to this one, and then I went, oh, maybe this will work.
Oh, that works perfectly. So there's another point for you. I don't think I have
Yeah, I wouldn't have normally have gotten that one.
no, I don't think I've gotten this one recently. Obviously in the past, but we're just trying to keep it like relevant for right now.
Of course.
And I love Indian food, so I'm glad I got to hear that story
Yeah.
because now I'm like hungry and wanting
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Uber
on
Eats, the new
the
way to 365 gift.
go.
Yeah.
Have you supported a local business lately?
I was thinking about that one, and probably I'm going to say no to this one because, that one again is such another easy one where, you get an Amazon delivery and you actually answer the survey, right? Or you go to a local restaurant and you could Instagram about them, right? Like what an easy thing to do. That when you find or you go and you give them a Google review. That's a big one, right? Is you
Yeah.
go and give a local business a review. And I have to say, I haven't done that one. So I'm glad you brought that one up, because the next time I go out and about, I'm going to see how I'm able to do that one.
Well, now you know something you can take note on for the future. I
Nice.
always support local.
I love that.
That's definitely something I can beat you on. Uh,
Okay.
I always try to support local whenever I can, do what you can. Even if it's more expensive, there's more heart in it and you're gonna do,
Yeah.
more good for them than you would for, going to Amazon or Walmart
Right.
or whoever else.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big, really important thing for me that I really try to do in my everyday life.
Well, and we keep, it's good for the planet, right? You're taking it like literally when you go, okay, how are, it's not just one way you're giving, but it's better for the planet. You're shopping locally. You're giving back to your own community, because where the businesses thrive in your own community, a whole community thrives then, right? There's not as much need, which is great. So I love this one very much. So today I have to go out and do some shopping. So I'm gonna go make sure that I shop at a local business. Thank you for that one. It's a good reminder.
Well, there you go. I hope everyone else is listening and seeing how they can take that into their life too.
Exactly.
Have you encouraged anyone's passion lately?
Oh, I have. I'm actually really good at this one. Probably to the point sometimes where I go, I gotta back down a little bit. I like to think that like one of my superpowers is that I always say I can see the light in others. And so one of the things that I know I can do as a friend is really encourage somebody's ability when whether they don't see it in themselves or maybe they're getting stuck as well. And so there's a couple of things that I've done. I'm actually traveling to Amsterdam in just a few weeks because I'm participating in
Oh,
I know, how lucky am I? So I'm going to Amsterdam to participate in a women's retreat for 2 days.
I
And my
love
girlfriend
that.
that's putting it on was having a lot of fear about this was her first retreat she's ever done. They were struggling with ticket sales and she was getting really stuck asking for help. And I think one of the things, and you may know this, Piper, but women tend to struggle to ask for help
Yeah.
when they're feeling stuck. It's a big one. And so that's what I've been doing this week, is not only encouraging her passion, but finding a way to bring all the women that are participating in this, bring us all together, share our energy, share our expertise, share out on media, do all of the things so that she's feeling we love what she's doing. Like, it's brilliant what she's doing. She just needs some supporter around to do that one. So that was one of the things that I've been doing actually all week. And the other one was, I have a friend who was getting a little stuck doing a post on social media that he needed to do for work. And so that was my big encouragement this morning, is going, you know what, just write from your heart, do it from your heart. Don't try and be perfect. Don't try and make sure you have it all right. You tag all the right people, all the things that sometimes you have to do on social media. Just write from your heart. Yeah. And so that was one of the things that I was doing today, is just encouraging a couple of people that are getting stuck in their own lives, as we all do.
No, exactly. And it's just it's good. This is something we hear from our seniors very often. It's good to step out of your routine. And
Right.
if you don't have the capacity to be able to share in your experience every day or in your passion every day, then make an experience out of it whenever you can. But you can't just put that fully on the back burner, because then you're not fully giving yourself what you should, right?
Yeah.
Um,
What about you?
me, I am always pushing people to pursue their passions. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I have danced competitively all my life. I am a very experienced choreographer and teacher.
Wow.
And my students, even though I'm a university student at the University of Calgary, I can't spend very much time with my students anymore. And, they're all growing. All of them are like graduating now. Somehow they're adults, and I literally grew up with them, and they were always so it's very hard for me to be able to not be able to be so constant in their life. But the one thing I can do, pull out my phone that I have this that I'm blessed to have access to, and I can reach out to them, see how they're doing, see how their performances are going. And I've actually encouraged a bunch of them to come be performers on the show in
Oh, I love that.
future episodes and whatnot. So
That's
that is
great.
something that I take very seriously. And it's very important in my life. Um, but yeah, I think art is one of the biggest things to do. And most people have passions for art, whether it's passions for people, passion for dancing, singing. Um, if you're insanely spectacular like Jekka, it's circus. But yeah, I try to do this in my everyday life.
I love that. Well, just knowing you had me on the show today, right? This is one of my passions, and you provided me the space today. So thank you for that.
No, of course. Um, let's do maybe one more, and then we'll wrap this up, because I feel like we could both fill
Great.
out this entire sheet.
Yep, I think so.
What's a good one? giving a stranger a compliment. And then
Mm,
I want to hear about how much it really changed them.
right. Well, I've got two. The last one that I probably did was complimented a woman who I just was like in awe of at the gym. She was probably about the same age as I am. And she was so buff. She was strong. She looked awesome. And I made sure that I told her. Because I think that it's one of the things that women really struggle with as well as our own body image.
Oh,
And right. So for me, that's always the one thing. If I'm giving a compliment to a stranger, I really try and make sure I go out of my way to do it for another woman. I think the admiration of another woman from a woman
it means the
is
world. Yes.
it's everything, right? And so for all of that we're put down and the way we're supposed to look and all the things, it's something that I do. And I would say that I gave one to you today, just and complimented you on just what a brilliant job you're doing, and recognizing that as we're going along and the hard work that you're doing to make this happen today.
You know, I can only aspire to do what you do. And hopefully, as I grow as a person, I can continue to try to give what you've inspired me to do and turn into my life. And I feel like you do have that wisdom that we were talking about, and it's really moved me. I've really loved this conversation,
Thank you.
and I hope people have it's resonated with the people who are watching as well. And I hope this is the start of a great connection. This is our first initial conversation, so
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
can't
we have
wait.
lots of things to follow up on, so I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, be watching your email. That's definitely gonna be something we're gonna be working on.
But
So
how easy is that, right? Like
it's
that
just that
small act of giving, right? It's so easy. It's something we can all do every day just to increase the happiness on our planet for that single and the love, right? And that's what All for Love is all about. The campaign we talked about at the beginning is how do we increase human happiness and the love that's in our world? And we start changing that energy that you and I have been talking about from conflict and fear and hatred, and we start to change that around to unity and love and peace for us all. Because really, isn't that the world we all want to live in?
no, that is the world we all want to live
Right?
in. And
Yeah.
when you
Then we
bring
got to do something.
exactly, when you bring everything back down to its foundation, that is what everything's about. You search for success because you want to be happy. You want to be able to support your family. You search and you carry out things that you love to do because you just love to do them and they make you happy.
Right.
One of the biggest ones is romantic love, family love for those that don't necessarily need that in their life. But that's what everything boils down to. And
Mhm.
that is something that both of our organizations are really trying to get out there in the world. And this is one step towards that. And I'm really grateful to have had this conversation with you today.
Both ways.
I can't wait to see where this goes, and I'm so excited to just chat with you more and see how we can work together in the future.
Both ways. Thank you. Namaste. And
I
thank you everyone for who has watched today, but also for those of you that are going to be watching down the road and in the future. Thank you for coming and joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would love to finish off with a group picture. Okay, now you said that since you're on Zoom all the time, do you know about the virtual filters?
I do. I got some filters here. Hold
Okay,
on. I
perfect.
think. Hold on. Let's take a look. See if I can do this. Can I just get rid of all my um do you want me to choose an avatar? Which one do you want me to do? Hold
I
on,
think
virtual
I'm gonna do the
features.
sunglasses because we talked about, how just putting on your shades can give you
Exactly.
different.
Hold on a minute. I should know this.
So
Hold
I
on.
clicked
I'm
the
in there. Yep, I'm getting in
okay,
there. I'm
perfect.
getting there. Hold on. Let's see. I'm just a little slower. See us old people? We're just a
See, look, this is
slower.
this is all of our points today are coming together.
There we go. There we go. Okay, we got this. Let's see what I'm going to choose. Give me a second. These ones are kind of funny.
I know I had on the snowboarding goggles thinking of your son.
Oh, see, look at that.
I was just saying that.
I love that. This is in honor of my son winning a snowboard competition. That's he won last night. So we're gonna give
Oh,
him that one.
big
That's his
command
snow.
from
There
the
you go. And we're gonna throw a little light on everything because that's what we were talking about. How do we throw a little bit of light and a few rainbows on everything today?
Heck
There's my
yeah.
rainbow glasses. See, now I can go chasing rainbows.
Oh, I
There you
love
go.
them. All
Yeah.
right. We'll
Thank
have
you.
someone go back in editing and fix that. Thank you
Thank you for
so much,
having me.
Jacqueline.
Have a
Thank you
beautiful
everyone
day.
for watching. Yes, we'll catch you in the next episode, everybody. Thank you so much.
Ciao.